Hey everyone, the Reading Bard here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be reading Chapter 5 of 428 and Counting, written by B4 Nanaman. Let's hop right into it. The revelation did fuck him up a little. One night, he went to sleep. He did that sometimes, just to have that sense of normality, wishing to go back to before he was cursed, just to be able to end it all. The next day he got up in his 17-year-old body. He was still in his apartment. The newspaper was saying the correct date, but his body changed, responding to his wishes. He experimented with this newfound aspect the whole week, wishing really strongly to change something on his body while sitting in front of a mirror. It worked. He could change his appearance, but more like a shift between the ages he had been before. He could choose to be 10, 4, 48, but not 100. He had not lived to be 100 yet. He wished he didn't have to. But this was a pleasant discovery. This meant that he could just start anew every time something went wrong. His next couple of years he is not proud of. He has had enough of life and decided to just do whatever. He changed his body to be around 22 and went haywire. Parties, drugs, sex, alcohol, crimes, all of it. He was never caught. He was never even suspected. After all, the police were searching for a Ravenette, painted youngster. And he was a respectable gentleman in his 60s. Nobody would connect the two. But then, he had accidentally killed one of his flings. They both overdosed. He got up. She did not. He decided that this has to stop. So he up and moved cities. He started anew as a 30-year-old florist in downtown Yokohama, living peacefully for a good decade. Then he got bored again, so he went abroad for the first time. He decided that since he knew English pretty well, America was the way to go. He moved to Michigan as a 20-year-old university student to study medicine. He had time, and it's not like he needed sleep. Med school sounded like a good time kill. After his not-so-innocent second 20s in Japan, he got rather good at forging legal documents so nobody would get suspicious of a 20-year-old having an ID from almost half a century ago. This came in rather handy, giving him the option to just ditch whenever. Got weird when he, for an experiment, cut off his own arm, just to see what would happen. As it turns out, the rewind process was bigger. No longer attached pieces is different. As soon as the cut-off arm hit the table, it had all but evaporated, leaving slightly black dust behind. The wound, on the other hand, like some B-grade movie plot with aliens, sprouted blood that somehow stayed in the general area. After about 10 seconds of that, the blood started to gather, forming bones first, then muscle, veins, fat, tissue, all a continuation of his remaining arm. His fingers coming in last almost a minute later. When the interior was done, skin covered the newly grown limb, completing the process. It was a weird experience, but the weirdest part was being able to name the parts as they were growing back, medical names and all. After finishing med school and becoming a surgeon, he practiced for 20 years, loving the change of pace compared to the peaceful life of a florist. He was on his feet, rushing 24/7, operating left and right, training new interns, going up the corporate ladder, and after a particularly nasty case of power harassment and a chief surgeon getting arrested later, he found himself in the black leather chair on top of the building. The nameplate in front of his office reading Dr. Izuku Midoriya, Chief Surgeon and Medical Director. After one more year of this, he faked his own murder and fled to New Zealand. He got married to a woman he met during his stay in the Morai region, had a child, and was happy. He lived with them for almost 50 years, having met the woman in their 20s. When his wife died, he mourned and grieved with their son, who already had his own wife and daughter by that point. He made sure to ensure their monetary happiness for at least a decade, and then died of old age. He toured Europe, spending a year or two in every country. In some, he enjoyed the wild nightlife, or had a lover as a 20-something-year-old. In some, he enjoyed the peaceful days as a middle-aged gentleman. He found that changing his gender was not within the capabilities of his quirk. He found that drugs and alcohol had no lasting effect on his body. He found that he learned quicker than anybody else. His brain could process information at light speed and was capable of storing and recalling infinite amounts of information. He learned over 50 languages and spent years reading through the biggest libraries in the world. He was just killing time at this point, since killing himself was not an option. Sure, sometimes it was fun. Sometimes he forgot about the cruciating truth of having to do this eternally. Sometimes he felt alive in his skin that was supposed to be dust in the wind by this point, but it never lasted. And quirks became more common, but still frowned upon. He decided to return to Japan. The world was in different stages of accepting these inevitable changes. Every country having their own new laws, movements, hate crimes, and government offices. But Japan was particularly bad at this field. The quirked were oppressed, publicly shamed, denied opportunities, jobs, education, service, food, love. Orphanages were filled to the brim. Homelessness hit an all-time high, and underground movements formed into an army to destroy the current government and bring liberation to the ones with the meta ability. Izuku hated seeing his home distorted from the peaceful country it once was. He did not want the war to take place, had no intention of opposing it either. What he did want was a safe place for all to refuge in, for the quirked and for the quirkless, all the same. So with the immolated wealth that he had gathered over 200 years, he used it to build a center. He purchased the territory on a smaller mountain and had a big refugee center built in the middle of the forest covering the land. Had a wall drawn up to protect the ones residing in the building and the ones who came in hopes of shelter and protection. Once it was done, he went underground and gathered the people he deemed safe to bring inside the walls of his new establishment, the ones he deemed not to cause havoc around other quirked individuals. He was very clear on what he allowed on the premises and what he did not. The people who decided against following his rules got kicked out, never to be let on the grounds again. When the first Quirk War broke out, he gathered all civilians and got them to safety inside his halls. He made sure to give the people with meta abilities a secluded wing that was off limits for the normal person, but they could leave any time. He did not keep prisoners. During the 200-ish years he lived, almost all humanity left his body. He did not grieve anymore. Death was a constant, the only constant in this cruel world. He welcomed her like an old friend. Izuku made sure to supply his wards with food and water, even if he himself didn't need any. He made sure to keep them updated on the proceedings of the fights, even if he himself did not care anymore. He did his best to entertain everybody, set up teachers to teach the kids, the medical experts to tend to the ill and elderly, and in general, tried to give them a sense of normality. When the war was over and the government reached an agreement with the leader of the resistance, Izuku opened the gates and helped the civilians settle back into the half-destroyed city. It was hard on the people. The normal humans and meta people had to live together now, overcome prejudices and fear, and work together in order to restore the lives that they had before. Both parties were afraid of what could happen in case of another war, so they set aside their differences. New laws passed ensuring the equal rights of the meta people, abolishing previous discriminations, penalizing hate speech, public discrimination, or targeted seclusion. And after a decade of testing the waters, the public all but forgot that they had a problem with each other completely. Izuku stayed in Japan all throughout these events, making sure that everything proceeded without issue. The refugee center he built was transformed throughout the years. More and more people coming to him, saying their thanks and paying their respects to him once their lives got on the rails again. People brought their children to him, introducing the next generation to the man that single-handedly protected the country's citizens during dire need. The sole reason Japan could get back up again after the war. The nation's hero. Izuku felt nice. For the first time in over a century, there were people who looked at him with more than fleeting affection or empty praise. So he decided to stay, to be there for the people, his people. He transformed the center to a place where the next generation could prosper under his guiding hand, an environment free of judgment, be it from quirk discrimination, identity, or background, a free school for all children in Japan, unity for all, UA, for the next generation of heroes. And that is it for Chapter 5 of 4 to 8 and Counting. I do hope you all enjoyed. I know I did. Immortal Izuku fics always have a special place in my heart. Don't know why. I just really like him. I love all the fics I do, but Immortal Izuku was just always something I gravitate towards, especially if I see it in the tags. Don't know why. Just how I am. Yee. Anyways, this is where I'm leaving this video. I hope you all have an amazing day. The link to this fic will be down below in the description. Please go give the author all the love and kudos, it is so deserved. Until next time, this has been the Reading Bard, and I will see you next time. Bye!